would have seen emerging today, allegedly Benjamin Sesko has decided to sign a new deal at RB Leipzig and stay currently at his current employers, again, which is a bitter pill to swallow where Arsenal striker such is concerned. Another one bites the dust. The question is, where do we go from here? Mikel Arteta and co, I'm sure, have many alternative solutions and targets, and the newspaper articles are going to get to swell even more names and link them to our club. Apparently, you know, the same old usual suspects are still linked with Arsenal Football Club, where one door closes, another one opens, and that's the mentality we need to have. I am a big fan of Gyökeres, if I'm completely honest with you. I do like what Joshua Zirkzee can bring to the table. You can see why on screen Gyökeres is of an attraction to me from a footballing point of view. In relation to Gyökeres, people, shameless plug, but I've done a video on why potentially Arsenal should sign him, and likewise I've done the same with Joshua Zirkzee, so I'd implore you all to go and check that out, people. Off topic, but young Chido Obi Martin is still in discussions with Bayern Munich, as you can see on screen. Apparently Onana is not universally wanted at Arsenal Football Club, and we have held tentative talks with Fofana. Anyone that follows my content knows how much I want a central midfielder. Again, check out my Fofana video I did, shameless promotion. Keeping up the midfield stuff, Luis seems to be going to Juventus, allegedly. Arteta is still looking at a central midfielder, a left back and a striker, and you just never know what our strategy is in the transfer market. I think Arsenal have done a good job of keeping rumours under wraps, if I'm completely honest with you. And again, I guess we've got to go back to the drawing board, do several calculations about how we can improve and better this team for next season and look to win a Premier League trophy. End of the day, we're going to have to spend money. Money is required. Money is the route to happiness to a degree in a footballing sense. Edu and Mikel Arteta are going to have to close some business deals and get it done, people, because if this Arsenal football team wants to go down in history where trophies are concerned, we need additions. It's as simple as that. If we want to continue this upward trajectory, we need to act in the transfer market. Again, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy a winger, central midfielder, striker, left back, and any other areas potentially that Mikel Arteta wants to address. Time is of the essence. Time is on our side, and you know the people at Arsenal are working, but I would like to see some additions. Now, for me, what is the one thing or two things I always say to you lot when I talk about transfer news on my platform? I always say the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately, and I always say don't count your chickens before they hatch, because what is projected in the media, where they're just trying to get clicks and they're all recycling the same information, and what's actually going on in the world of football are very different things. Now, where Benjamin Sesko is concerned, I do think there was a level of interest from Arsenal. Whether we were prepared to pay his release clause, whether we were given enough encouragement to activate his release clause because of this news in hindsight with signing a new deal is another question. You know, whether we believed he was necessarily worth paying the amount they were asking for, these are all different hypotheticals that in truth we won't necessarily know. I think Sesko would have been the perfect forward for us, and I do think you'll see him in the Premier League in a few years' time. Again, I've offered my extended thoughts on Sesko and his development path, but it would have been perfect. I don't think his signing would have broken the bank. I think he ties in with what we're doing short, medium and long term. As much as I don't care for disrupting the balance of the starting 11, because if we want to get better, we have to get better players. I don't think he necessarily bothers Kai Havertz immediately in terms of taking his place, and they could coexist together. And obviously there's an upwards trajectory in that regard. And I would also say again, you know, Arsenal have done as much as you can, really. Arsenal have done quite well in that you never quite know what the club is doing. You know, you look on the, you know, you look randomly at our last couple of transfer businesses. It was only really Declan Rice that was kind of highly projected, and to a degree Gabriel Jesus, but even at the point of that, even Timber, you know, remember when Timber was at the FA Cup final that Man United lost against City, it was reported that he's going to sign for United, and then he signed for us. So Arsenal seem to be doing a better job under Mikel Arteta and the current regime of keeping things under wraps. So I don't know how much interest there genuinely was by Arsenal in getting this Sesko deal done, and as aggressive as it was projected to be, we'll just never know. It does raise in question, you know, how much is a striker required? Because if Sesko said no and he wants to sign a new deal, again, I've provided many different hypotheticals, then fair enough. But it seemed like that was the one for us, or could be the one for us. You know, again, Does Mikel Arteta and Edu want a striker as much as us fans do? Again, what would be the price range? You could imagine now with Sesko confirming his future, at least for this season or the season coming at Leipzig, we're going to continuously get linked with Joshua Zirkzee, which again, this week and last week's all been Sesko to Arsenal. You have heard that both Man United and Arsenal haven't moved away from Joshua Zirkzee as he looks to be going to AC Milan. And I just feel his age profile and his price is kind of similar to Sesko. So I think that could be one. If it was up to me, I can't lie, I do like the look of Sporting Lisbon's Gyökeres, which I've done a video on. I don't know if Arsenal are going to spend that 80 odd million quid or if we've got the budget to do that, as well as assessing other areas. Isak is a pipe dream, as we know. For me personally, I think we need to address a central midfield. I think central midfield is equally as important, if not more important, than a forward. But a striker, a central midfielder, and another winger wouldn't go amiss. And again, all options are on the table. I would love the reality once again where we sign a winger that can play instead of Saka or fight in for a place or coexist collectively amongst all our other attackers and another striker. But I was of the belief that, you know what, if the club get a striker, they might not bet on another winger. If we cannot get a striker that we allegedly want, we might obviously, you know, go for a goal scoring winger, which I'm not necessarily against. How long before we're linked with Vlahovic again, really and truly? And obviously you've got the backdrop of Osimhen. It seems like he's being priced out of a move. When we did sign Gabriel Jesus, allegedly reports were saying that we held talks with Osimhen's agents at London Coley. Now, since time has passed, he's evidently signed a massive release clause, one contract with a massive release clause. So I can't rule out anything. Who am I? I don't work for Arsenal. I'm not there with Mikel Arteta and Edu. But, you know, as much as I like Sesko and I really wanted him to sign for the club because I like him as a player, you know, unless it's Lionel Messi, a prime Lionel Messi, a prime Cristiano Ronaldo, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius, Neymar, people of that ilk, you know, if you're not in that kind of bracket, then there's millions of other players, exaggeration, but millions and thousands of other players. So we have to be ready to react. But I guess it just raises in question. You just never know what the club is planning for all of the media reports, really and truly. So we'll have to watch attentively. But I guess the search for a striker keeps going on. As I said, for me, as a minimum, we need a striker and a central midfielder. If it was up to me, you get a striker, you get a winger, you get a central midfielder. Allegedly, Mikel Arteta wants a left back, bring that in. Aaron Ramsdale leaves, we need a backup goalie. And anything else that Mikel Arteta demands he needs, because again, it's no secret we're developing something well. We've got a good project, but our squad is not sustainable in terms of two things for me. I think the players have done well, but a lot of these players, like with the current, you know, with them collectively, we can't get over the hill. Like we've kind of got enough, you know, we've milked the cow for as much as we can really without some additions. And I also feel we're going to be crippled by having one of the smallest squads. Mikel Arteta himself said that a few months ago. So these are things that we need to address, people. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on everything. Where do we go from here? What would be your first choice striking or central midfield or defensive reinforcements? And I guess we'll just have to see. As I always say, the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately. So on that note, smash the like button, all of that good stuff. Let me love and leave you lot. Peace.